Men are attracted to women. Women are attracted to men. Men do things to attract women. Women do things to attract men. That's the idea. This basic fact of human existence. For our daily cancellation today, we have an article in CNN written by a woman named Madeline Holcomb with this rather hilarious title: "After years of progress on gender, the male gaze is back." Now, the article itself is very long, appears to have been written with the help of AI. Now, I can't prove that. I don't know for certain that it's the case, but as someone who suffered through the experience of reading the entire thing for some reason, I can say that it seems like the writer fed a few prompts into ChatGPT and told it to spit out a 3,000-word feminist essay. And if that's not what she did, she may as well have done that. There's really no reason to waste your time actually writing a soulless, banal, needlessly wordy essay that just repeats the same tired talking point over and over again. ChatGPT can handle that just fine. I'm very against AI taking over and doing everything, but if that's what if you're looking to make a pointless, soulless essay, then you might as well just have AI do it. Anyway, here's how Madeline GPT begins the article. "This summer, I got cultural whiplash. As a child of the 90s and early 2000s, I grew up with my mother's and grandmother's generation's fight for legal and workplace equality, helping shed social misogyny. In the past decade in particular, I saw the evidence of progress in my media diet. The movies, shows, books, and advertisements I consumed were increasingly giving women a seat at the table. Heroin chic fell away, and body positivity entered the fashion world. Stories about a woman stealing your man were traded for celebrations of the girl's girl who resisted the competition for men's attention. When my husband and I got married earlier this year, our vision of what our life could be included wide-ranging possibilities, influenced in part by the movies and shows we grew up with. We saw, read, and listened to stories of involved fathers, successful mothers, and well-matched partners who supported one another. It seemed like women were taking a deeper breath without such heavy cultural restrictions." Well, you see what I mean. I'm not going to harp on the point, but I just refuse to believe that an actual human person wrote this paragraph. It's the perfect combination of cliche and meaningless. It was either generated by an algorithm or by a person whose brain has been hijacked by algorithms, and the results are the same. In any case, Madeline claims that when she got married, she and her husband were excited by the wide-ranging possibilities in their lives because they were influenced by the movies and shows they watched. Without the movies and shows, they wouldn't have known that life has possibilities. They would not have known that if they hadn't been able to watch all those movies and shows. Madeline needed to see women on TV pretending to do different things in order to know that it's possible for women to do different things. She watched Grey's Anatomy and learned that women can be doctors. She saw, Tomb Raider and learned that women can be archaeologists. She watched Monster with Charlize Theron and learned that women can even be successful serial killers if they want to be. Madeline's brain was programmed by pop culture, and she's apparently proud of it. But she's confused because after all this girl power propaganda, why do heterosexual men still exist? How can this be? She continues, "Then there was a shift. Was it around the 2024 presidential election or since the overturn of Roe v. Wade? Maybe when men's rights activists pushed back against Me Too. Whatever the catalyst, a change in the political environment seemed to connect with a social change that brought back narrow and at times constrictive ideas of womanhood depicted in media. The recent rise of weight loss medications coincided with social media influencers sharing ways to get smaller and no longer celebrating bodies of all sizes. Advertisements followed suit, making men's desire once again a dominating factor in how stories are told and how women are portrayed. How had these discarded ideas made their way back into circulation? Didn't we all agree we were through with them? The culprit, I have learned, is the male gaze. It was always there, but now it's stepped back into the spotlight." Look, I'll be honest with you, between work, kids, all the different activities you have with kids and trying to squeeze in some fishing time as well, very important. Our family dinners become a lot more chaotic than we prefer. And that's why I'm actually excited about what Good Ranchers is doing this fall. They're challenging families to get back to the table every Thursday night through Thanksgiving. And before you roll your eyes thinking this is some impossible Pinterest mom fantasy, hear me out. Good Ranchers delivers 100% American meat raised on local farms right to your door. Here's the game changer for busy families. Everything comes pre-portioned and triple trimmed. That means less time wrestling with a chunk of beef and more time actually sitting down together. I used to think you could only get a really great steak at an expensive steakhouse, but Good Ranchers delivers that same quality right to your door, right to my door. And I love their steaks. Now I can impress my family on the grill without dropping $100 every time that we eat out. Plus, they're doing weekly giveaways for a free holiday ham. Just post your Thursday dinner on Instagram with back to the table, hashtag back to the table, and tag Good Ranchers. It's easy. And who doesn't like a chance to win free food? I know I do. Here's the deal. Go to goodranchers.com and use my code Walsh for $40 off plus free meat for life when you subscribe. That's $40 off and free meat for life. Goodranchers.com. Let's get back to the table. Now, the rest of this interminable diatribe just circles around this idea that the male gaze, which apparently had gone away for a while, is now back. And that's bad because, the male gaze is bad. Males are not supposed to have a gaze. We aren't supposed to look at anything or notice anything or want anything or have any preferences or desires of any kind. Every bad thing that happens, including and especially the bad choices that women make, are really the fault of men and their gaze. G-A-Z-E, by the way, just to clarify. She goes on to explain, this year saw viral content around an OnlyFans star's attempt to break the world record for most sexual partners in one day, a lucrative career move made even more viral by her bashing the wives and girlfriends of her sexual partners and suggesting that men cheating is the fault of the women who aren't available enough for sex. Most typically, the male gaze is about representing women in media solely to satisfy heterosexual men, said Dr. Linda Tunkay-Zayer, professor of marketing and John F. Smith, junior chair in business administration at the Quinlan School of Business at Loyola University, Chicago. That was the longest title. That was the longest title for the most meaningless position that you could possibly imagine. So anyway, the point is when a woman decides to pimp herself out for money, the fault really lies with men. The OnlyFans star in question cannot be blamed for her own decisions. Much less can she be accused of exploiting the men who appear in her videos or consume her content. I mean, you could make that argument. If anyone's being exploited there, it's actually going the other way. No. Somehow she's the one being exploited, even though she is the one with all the power in that relationship and the only one who profits financially from it. Madeline also uses the example of the infamous American Eagle ad. Infamous for no reason. There was no reason for it because it was totally inoffensive. But Sydney Sweeney was evidently compelled through the hypnotic force of the male gaze to appear in the ad and objectify herself. So this is your typical feminist claptrap where women are presented as both empowered and utterly helpless at the exact same time. But I want to focus very briefly, just for a moment, on the question that the author posed that we read a couple minutes ago. And she wrote again, how had these discarded ideas made their way back into circulation? Didn't we all agree we were through with them? Now, the idea, again, is just heterosexuality. That's really it. That's the idea she's talking about. Men are attracted to women. Women are attracted to men. Men do things to attract women. Women do things to attract men. That's the idea. This basic fact of human existence. And guess what? That basic fact of human existence was never discarded and can never be discarded. It was denied by the ideological movement that Madeline has unthinkingly aligned herself with. But human society itself can never get rid of it. And the most telling part of it is when she said, well, hadn't we all agreed? Oh, really? You think we all agreed? Living in such a bubble, she thinks everyone agreed. Like we all agree that we're just done with heterosexuality completely. We all agreed to this total rejection of the only thing that keeps human civilization going. Hadn't we all agreed? Hadn't every single person on the planet agreed to this? Well, no, we certainly never agreed that we were all through with this fact of existence. Even if we had agreed, it wouldn't change the fact. There was no agreement. There was instead a demand from Madeline's side. And now she is lamenting that that demand was not met. She is lamenting, essentially, normalcy. And that is what this is really about. And that is why she is today canceled. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed.